Skawo! Oh yeah, Mario time! Huh. Let's go! Oh yeah, Mario time! Yeah! Let's go! Let's go. Woo! Oh yeah! Woo! Yeah! Oh yeah! Mario time! Ha!